Happy New Year, my fellow Marvel MC community. SpyJ here, and let me just say 2019 is one of those years that I'm honestly going to miss a lot. We didn't do as much events as the previous year, but we did in fact have events that were even more remarkable. Be sure to check out the previous video titled Looking Back at Another Great Year for a recap on the amazing times we've had throughout 2019. Now, for the reason I made this video, the event schedule. I've been hyping this up for quite a bit. It was originally meant for 2019, but then they decided why not use it as a kickoff for the long-awaited revamp. The 2020 event schedule sets the next 6 server events, each one of them being part of the server lore. That's right, 6 whole new bits of story for the Earth MC1 universe, from picking up cliffhangers, to resuming the side stories, and to unveiling what happens next after the sad ending of previous events. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first and next upcoming event is called What More Could We Lose? It's going to be a prequel event based around Thor, and it also introduces a fan favorite character into the story, known as Beta Ray Bill, as the new acting champion of Sakaar, due to Thor's escape from the trash planet. One of my favorite parts of the event is the mayhem, and it will explain how Rocket Raccoon gets his hands on the Power Stone in recent events. Speaking of Beta, shout out to Beta Ray Bill, and I don't mean the character, I mean the player. He helped me with this event and gave me a great help in understanding the character better, and that was important in order to use the character properly in this event. Beta, your help was very appreciated, and this is honestly one of my favorite events on this roster. This event is scheduled initially for January 25th, 2020. However, we're making an exception and bringing it to everyone sooner if we see enough player heads on the 19th. Next up, we have Avenge Me with an exclamation point, which is where things get a little upsetting. For those who were here on June 15th, 2019, you might have saw the ending of Marvel MC's Fatal Web event. Spoiler alert, Spider-Man perished. We don't have these very often, but Avenge Me will serve as a final boss battle, an event simply to tie down the knots, to kick things up a bit. We're still distributing a very rare participation prize, and there will be a giveaway for players who are unable to support the server with donations to celebrate the surpassing of 100 engine purchases. This event is scheduled for February 8th, 2020. If you want to avenge the Spidey, be there and show Ultimate Green Goblin that what he did was a mistake. Followed by Avenge Me is another prequel event called Forged by Iron, and it's based around the origins of Iron Man and Captain America simultaneously. Although the idea behind it is very basic, you'll see why it just might be very important. One thing that is unique about this event is that it's an ongoing switch between the two origin stories. When it comes to secondary story in these events, they've been brief with maybe a scene or two in one event, and then no one hears more until the next. This event considers both stories equally prime. Shout out to Argot. They contributed a lot to this event, including builds. This is one of those events where you'll want to stick around to the end for the post-dialogue, as it sets things in stone for a future event. This event is scheduled for March 6th, 2020. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned resuming the side stories. Well, one side story in particular first introduced itself during Clintar's Our Galaxy, where Rocket and Groot find themselves stranded on Clintar and have been in jeopardy ever since. During Ultron Genesis, it was revealed via a voice message from Nebula that Thanos arrived on the planet and took the Space Stone from Teenage Groot. They managed to slip away before Thanos could threaten them into handing over the power and Time Stone they also possess. Later on during that event, heading into Fatal Web, we've come to learn that a mysterious figure by the name of Requiem intervened while Rocket and Groot were hiding from Thanos in a cave. They joined forces and came up with an unexplained plan of taking them directly to Thanos in order to keep them alive. We were left off on a cliffhanger. The latest of this story ends in Requiem and Thanos agreeing that they should all get this over with. As Thanos extends his arm out, this is implying that Requiem is willing to hand over 2 more stones to Thanos. The story will pick up again with an after scene at the end of the next event on the schedule, which is titled Him. This event takes place several months after the event of Fatal Web, which is when they last did a bit of searching on Clintar for their 2 missing members. During this event, Mantis discovers something discreet about Clintar that just may be a solution to tracking down Rocket and Groot. Before they look into this, however, they go on a side mission, which practically turns into one of their biggest missions yet, involving the return of Agent Venom, and the introductory of Adam Warlock as the main villain. This event was actually one of the hardest events I've ever written. As far as the story goes, I spent a long time writing it, but I believe it was worth it. For those who like a good story, this just may be one of the best ones for you. This event is scheduled for April 10th, 2020. Getting into our last couple of minutes, on the first half of the schedule, we have First Light. Shout out once again to Argit. This event had several ideas for the title, but this one was his suggestion, so thanks for that. For those who miss Spider-Man, this is one of the events you'll want to attend. Think of First Light as an origin story for Cloak and Dagger, except it's not telling the exact same story that I did before. Rest in peace to that show, by the way. Since it takes place a couple years prior to Spider-Man's death, he plays a small role in the beginning, and his current status in the hospital is updated at the very end. Although, believe me when I say, the best parts about this event is the focus on Tyrone Johnson and Tenny Bowen. They make great characters, and this event will prove that they just might be the most important ones yet going forward. This event is scheduled for May 16th, 2020. Last event on the schedule is called The War Within. As you might have guessed, this event is based around Civil War. This event kicks off on its own during the Forged by Iron event, so consider it a sequel with a big time jump. The War Within tells a lot of story, and probably the biggest story out of all the events on this list. Not only because of its mere reflection of the film, but also because of the additional parts that were added to tell a much bigger story. And you all will come to recognize this when you see the surprising plot twist and the surprise ending that connects this event directly to Adam Warlock's event. This event is scheduled for June 20th, 2020, and it's the last event on the Marvel MC 2020 event schedule so far. Before we go, allow me to summarize a few things. Web More Could We Lose? January 19th or the 25th, 2020. So be there on the 19th if you want it to happen that day. Avenge Me, February 8th, 2020. Forged by Iron, March 6th, 2020. Him, April 10th, 2020. First Light, May 16th, 2020. The War Within, June 20th, 2020. Those are the events, the dates, and the server IP is play.marvelmc.us, or you can use marvel.roleplaymc.us. Last thing I want you all to keep in mind, even though it's not on the schedule, in between First Light and The War Within will be Marvel MC's 4-year anniversary event on June 1st. Last year's Capture the Gauntlet event was a banger, and even I don't know if I'll be able to top it. So please, feel more than welcome to leave me your ideas in the comments below. Also, be sure to tell us which event are you looking forward to the most. Thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe for more Marvel MC content, and we look forward to seeing you all at these events. Goodbye.